You guys need to understand that as well. You cannot get to God outside of Jesus, and you cannot get close to God if you are not close to Jesus. Churches all across this country are about spiritual gifts. They're about social injustice. They're about all these moral programs, feeding people and doing all these things. Those things are fine in their place. But where their place should not be is paramount. This is what we're about. We're about speaking in tongues. That's not a gospel-centered church. We're about feeding homeless people. That is not a gospel-centered church. We're about racism and destroying social injustice. That is not a gospel-centered church. A gospel-centered church is about Jesus Christ, not about cupcakes and puppy dogs and all this prosperity. It is about Jesus. That is why the Epicenter is about Jesus Christ. Imperfect as we are, that is our goal. That is where our crosshairs intends to be. We do servant evangelism. Why? Not so that we can meet physical needs, first and foremost, is to, as much as it is to give people the spiritual, to meet their spiritual needs that they have. Jesus, it is always about Jesus. It is only about Jesus Christ. Fasting, Jesus says, it is a good thing to do. It's not coming to an end. It's not something that goes out with the Old Testament. It's not something that is done away with. Jesus says, there is coming a day when my disciples will need to fast, because they will not be in my presence. They will need to draw near to me, and I'll draw near to them. And there's going to come a day. And guys, if there was ever a group of people that needed fasting and prayer, it was these 11 men, because Judas didn't stay with them. And Paul and the others that joined them afterwards, like these guys had a crosshairs on them, a bullseye on them. These guys, Jesus entrusted with the gospel. 11 ordinary men, we talked about that a few weeks ago. 11 just not special men that were going to be tortured for Christ, that were going to be ravished for Jesus. I can promise you there was some serious fasting and prayer going on with these guys. And guess what? They turned the world upside down, the Bible says. Because here we are, 2,000 years later, Jesus Christ, the most worshipped person in all of history. The man who has had the most books written about him. More wars have been fought over him. More people have worshipped the name of Jesus Christ. Obviously not all worshiping the true Christ, but in one way or another, they turned the world upside down for Jesus. And he says there's coming a day when they will need to do that. Guys, I want to set out a challenge for you, because I believe that day is still with us. And if we're going to reach this city, if we're going to reach this country, if we're going to reach this world by God's grace, which is my desire, which is my heart, which is what gets me up every day, which is what keeps me up to all hours of the night every morning, is to see the world reached for Jesus, to see this church grow to where we can reach out and start new churches all over the world. That is really what my desire is. And I believe that is what God has called the Epicenter to do, to hear this preached, this gospel preached. Not morality, not start religions, not this.